tour, but he was the last player to go through all 4 rounds of qualifying school to earn a PGA Tour card. The year after he accomplished that, of course, qualifying school went to the Korn Ferry Tour instead of the PGA Tour.
And next on the tee from Fargo, North Dakota, please welcome Tom Hoagie.
Yeah, we saw some errant tee shots. We saw a little bit of everything. World #1 hit it in there close and did not make birdie. There's Tom Hoagie.
And now from Raleigh, North Carolina,
I love the feature of that shot tracker, just especially if it's your tee shot headed down the middle. I really.
And Doc Redman won the United States Amateur Championship in the state of California at the Riviera Country Club in Los Angeles.
What a nice thing to have on your resume. He's hitting driver there, Doc is. Only 23 years of age. A lot of excitement. This opening event on the PGA Tour. Do you feel like you're a robot? You practice so much, but you change, and things change so much. Right at hole high for how you see that hole location, 13 steps off the front edge and only 4 steps off the right.
Tom Hoagie. Hard to believe this is his 8th year on the PGA Tour.
I felt the same, Ned. When I looked up some stuff about Tom this morning, I was really surprised he'd been playing that long. What a great start for your morning round. Just stuff it right in there.
Doc Redman, our first look coming out of this rough that can get a little thick and lush depending on where you are.
And in the mornings, Ned, we saw this yesterday, there's a lot of moisture. You're going to see a lot of water get sprayed up from the players in the rough, and it just gives you another component to try to figure out, and figure it out well, he did. For your score.
Snedeker the same, right? Getting up and down after hitting it in the penalty area. Huh. We saw yesterday that in the morning players leaving putts short, and I thought Dennis Paulson, who's on the ground for us this week, made a great point that the practice green here, the putting green, is actually a little bit more exposed, a little more higher on the property, so it typically is faster than the greens on the course.
And one of the things, Ned, that you're always looking for, and once you've been around a little bit, it's easier to pick up as you're looking for stuff like that, so that you can clue into and say, well, this putting green is going to be a little faster than what I'm going to experience once again on the 1st or the 10th hole, whichever side you're starting on. One of the first spots we tour players go to is a putting green. As soon as we get in, what are these greens going to be like? And you're plugging into that. Tom looks pretty excited about that birdie, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Out to the 10th. Brendan Steele.
You think this guy knows how to play this golf course a little bit?
Next on the tee from Thailand, please welcome Kiridesh Afibarnrat.
Kiridesh has been playing some nice golf. Kind of lost his game throughout the whole COVID, at least that mega season that we had, and he's been playing a little bit. He played well over on the European Tour, their flagship event.
A lot of folks have compared him to the European John Daly. Great hands, really long swing. A lot of speed in that golf swing. The hand-eye coordination that it takes to swing, you know, he's a big guy. To get that club swinging around your body at that sort of speed and hit some of the shots, he loves to create shots and move the ball around a little bit.
Las Vegas, Nevada, please welcome Maverick McNeely.
Well, of course, Maverick graduated from Stanford, not too far from here, San Francisco, in the Bay Area, just about an hour away.
This is definitely one of the young players that you'd expect to see and hear a lot more of in the next few years.
Have a night.
Here is Kiradek Epibonrat, the big tie. Oh, we just caught the last pine cone, the last leaning limb. How hard is that bunker shot?
You know, Ned, when you're in the first cut, every once in a while, that will happen to you as opposed to the fairway. Now, here's a look at Brendan Steele, just taking dead aim. Got the lean like he's pulled it. Again, though, Ned, look at 2 balls hole high. Watch this guy's hands. Watch how active his hands are, how much wrist break it's going to be in this shot, Ned. He was trying to make that, Ned.
Just about did.
Those are some gorgeous hands. Boy, soft, and just slid that club straight underneath the ball.
Trying to pick one up here early. Brendan Steele just not gonna get it to the cup. Kind of a familiar refrain. We've seen that here at the 10th.
Nice start, though. Fairway green, decent look at it. He's not going to be happy with that second shot, but Maverick's got a good look. This thing's got to just fall slightly to his right. Always helped me, Ned, to watch the other guys putt first. Just gave me a sense by watching their ball roll how fast these greens were.
McNeely just creeps it in the high edge. Off to a good start at 5 under. Only a couple behind Ches Reavie. So Kiradek's father, before he became Kiradek's coach and bought a driving range and started teaching in Thailand, their family had a company in Bangkok that sold ice. I don't think you have to be that good of a salesperson to sell ice in Bangkok, Thailand. But it was, as you can imagine, it was a fantastic business, very lucrative, and he sold it to go support Kiradek's dream of becoming a world-class golfer. Became his coach, and here we are.
And you know, Ned, there are stories like that behind all of these guys. Family sacrifices, mothers, fathers doing things, extraordinary things to try to support their kids. And
next
I
on
love
the
it.
tee from Bogota, Colombia, please welcome SebastianMunoz.
And Ned, how awesome is it to watch the PGA Tour become the World Tour? Look at a guy from Thailand, like Epibonrat. Now we've got folks from all over the globe. We've got dozens and dozens of countries represented. I just think it's fantastic.
Well, to your point, there are 90 international players on
And now
the
from
PGA Tour.
Taiwan, welcome C.T. Pan.
From 28 different countries.
I mean, that's the PGA Tour. You know, the World Golf Championships. It is the World Tour now, and some of the things that the tour is doing with the European Tour in conjunction with some of those efforts, I think it's just wonderful. You're getting a collection of the best players from around the globe now that are teeing it up, and this group is kind of like a United Nations group. We got CT from Taiwan. We've got SebastianMunoz from Spain, and we've got Jimmy Herman from the good old red, white, and blue, I think.
And that just chases through.
Kind of threw an ocean in between the two and made a mistake there. But
Well, this is promising for Herman. Munoz's ball just kind of snuck through the fairway and into the rough. And as Dennis Paulson was talking about earlier, it's moisture in the air, so the rough, it's kind of a guessing game right now.
here's CT Pan, just from the right rough. Well, you can tell a lot about their lives by how that ball reacts on the green, isn't it? Obviously, CT had a good lie, got plenty of club on that ball. Munoz needs to get going. 4 over par for yesterday's round. Just as unpredictable as we said coming out of the rough. It just didn't do what he's hoping for.
Matsuyama just moseying his way onto the tee. What a stretch it has been for Hideki.
Yeah.
Would you say that this is chippable, innable?
I don't know if I could say that, but I do believe it, yes.
He's disappointed with it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was definitely taking dead aim. He's 4 over par. He's really trying to, you know, make something happen. You just never know. Any time any one of these players in the field has a sub, you know, 65, 64 round in them. And obviously Sebastian is hoping to get this year off to a good start and try to make the cut. I mean, at this point, he's really playing for his life this week to try to make the cut.
You know, talked about Kiradek and his story with his family. CT Pan's equally inspiring. Grew up in Taipei, where his mother was a caddy at one of the local golf courses, and CT used to jump the fence at 3:34 in the morning so he could get out and play a few holes, thinking that he was under the radar, nobody saw. Of course, the pro shop knew, but they turned a blind eye because they understood the passion and dreams that he possessed. He left as a very young man to come to the United States. Didn't speak a word of English. Oh, that was rude. Went to the University of Washington, where he won 8 times and now a winner on the PGA Tour. Meticulous.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the 2021 Fortinet Championship. This is the 7:44 starting time. And on the tee from Sendai, Japan, Masters champion Hideki Matsuyama.
Looks like fairway meadow, boys. It's a little cooler, absolutely no breeze right now, and as I mentioned, the sky is definitely in cloud cover, as you can see, but it's definitely higher. You don't have that feeling of a, you know, kind of that intense cloud cover, that marine layer cloud cover. It looks a little bit more like higher clouds today, so it should burn off a little sooner. Hideki's leaning like he's lost it a little bit to the right. That clipped a tree, I
And
think.
next on the tee from St. Simon's Island, Georgia, please welcome Hudson Swafford.
Dennis, what does Hudson have to do to get the train back on the tracks today?
Well, I think he got it on the tracks on the last hole, so maybe he can. He got that one birdie late, didn't he? If I remember correctly, you guys call him that. So he needs to kind of turn it around, and maybe that's everything for him. I mean, he needs to put the ball in the fairway here and give him a look. I think that's the thing. He had too many holes where he was just having 4 and 5 footers for par. He needs to give himself some birdie looks as he starts that right down the middle. That's a great start to the day right
And
there.
now
Put that
from
ball in the
Sea
fairway
Island,
and give him a chance to
Georgia,
attack.
please welcome Matt Kuchar.
I was just talking to Matt on the putting green about the right arm lock program. I started trying it just to do it. I'm a good putter, so it's not really a big issue for me, but I had to try it, and I fell in love with it. It's really, really easy. I feel like it's completely cheating because it's just feel like it's a right arm underhand toss, and I'm a releaser of the putter, and it keeps you from anti-releasing it too hard. As he hits a good one, that's up the left side. That might need a hop to get in the fairway.
Gotta love the game of golf. So many volunteers it takes to put on these events, and they're also passionate about being here and being part of the event. Tip of the cap to everyone who volunteers, who comes out and supports these PGA Tour events.
Ned, so often those men and women are taking vacation times. They're buying their uniforms. Their days are 8 and 10 hours long. All of that to get inside the ropes and get a glimpse at what's going on in there. You really couldn't have these events without them.
Well, as Hideki contemplates, let's take a look at this.
Tour players can't handle around this green today.
Dennis, does Hideki have much of a shot?
Yeah, he's got a shot, no question. I mean, he's far enough back, and there's not really any issues with the trees. He's got to play to the left. The flagstick's out of play, but he absolutely has a shot. It's a Masters champion, for crying out loud.
That one just splashes down in the front bunker. A lot of green to work with, though.
You saw that abbreviated finish, that cutoff finish, trying to get that ball to go a little left or right. But when you're in the rough, the contact is so crucial to be able to try to spin that ball. And we saw dust and water flying up. All that affects the spin.
Kuchar next.
Great angle from that, coming in there to the right hole location. I think the left rough is almost a better place to be than the right side of the fairway today, because you can kind of play to that flagstick and you got room short. So this is a hole that, you know, from hitting the rough, it's not that bad unless you hit it way left. Then you got the other oak tree that you got issues with. But Matt didn't have any of that.
Most of the rough here at Silverado is pretty low, pretty doable. There are some spots where it's patchy.
Hudson.
What a difference a day makes, Ned.
Well, it looked like he was sliding into ambiguity at one point for Hudson Swafford. See, 2016 and 17, he was 38th, and it looked like the world was in the palm of his hand, and then all of a sudden just lost his game, had some injuries, wasn't sure if he was going to make it back, and out of nowhere wins on the PGA Tour. And as you see, last season he ended up finishing 36, his best year in the last 5.
And our partner Jane Crafter mentioned he missed 17 of 29 cuts, I believe. So he's got a very streaky game. And we also know, just for definition, that the tour player makes 80% of his money in 6 tournaments. So when you're playing well, take advantage of those 6, keep your foot on the gas, and try to hole as many putts as you can.
How's the lie for Hideki?
Should be pretty good. I mean, it just trickled into the bunker. It's on the upslope. He's got plenty of green to work with, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. You know, Hideki, I think, is a very good bunker player. Yeah, I think his short game is really underrated. What he did at Augusta was just remarkable, all the up and downs, and they were kick-ins. It was incredible the way he played.
You're right, Dennis. That came from an absolutely perfect lie, and his hands are just beautiful on that wedge. Great slapping sound in that bunker net that good players do. That's using the bounce, folks. That's hitting about an inch or two behind the ball and letting the bottom part of your wedge do all the work, staying away from that leading edge. For folks out there wondering how these tour players hit these bunker shots, it's the bounce of the wedge that's doing all the work.
That even brought a smile to Hideki's face. Only the second green that he's missed. And Dennis, it's early, but always kind of looking at the cut line on Fridays. Projected, I would think, 2 under par, something along those lines. Maybe sneaking to 3, and depends on the weather. But what are your thoughts?
The weather is going to be perfect today, I think. I just think the scoring's going to be good this morning. I think these guys are getting a golf course that's just a touch easier than it was for them yesterday. Then the guys in the afternoon. The big deal for the cut line, which you've got to understand, and I think Jay will go, yep, that's right, you're right. The cut's going to go down because the final hole on both sides of par 5. And you're talking about tour players, and tour players will birdie their final hole to make the cut. And if they're par 5s, that really has a tendency to have that cut have a tendency to move late in the day, or at least stay solid at a number where you won't see guys backing out of the cut number.
100%, Dennis. You are not going to see any. You're going to see very few bogeys on either side. We saw Matsuyama birdie the last 3 holes on the front 9, 7, 8, and 9 yesterday.
That's back-to-back birdies for Swafford now. The 18th yesterday and the first today.
That's a roll where I'm from. That is officially a streak right there.
Our second featured group is on the tee, Leishman.
And Ned, that's what we're talking about. That's really uncharacteristic. That's fairway metal. You could
Next
hear
on the
the
tee
sound.
from Franklin, Tennessee,
clunky.
please welcome Brent Snedeker.
This man's not afraid to stay aggressive. I can tell you that. Doesn't have to hit a big drive, though, to get this thing through the fairway.
Might need a little bounce here. And he got it.
And now from Dallas, Texas, please welcome Will Zalatoris.
Solid round yesterday for Zalatoris. No dropped shots. Made a few important putts. Overall, though, hit it beautifully. Half of his fairways, 13 greens.
I was very impressed with his ball striking. I knew he had speed and power, but I felt like he had a lot of control over that golf ball yesterday.
You too. Thank you.
It did quite a bit of the things that you need to do on tour to, man, make money and get up that leaderboard.